Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So EX3 releases this Friday. Super excited for this set. I always enjoy these side sets. I think they're a lot of fun. And with the new restriction list going into effect the same day, a lot of these lists that didn't really do much in JP have a much stronger presence now and much higher potential of actually seeing some more meta play for us here in the English format, wherever you may be. So I want to go ahead and take a look at the new decks. And we're not going to go through every card or anything like that, but we want to focus on each new self-contained deck that's going to be in this set, and a couple honorable mentions of some powerhouse cards to help support some already established decks. Also, don't forget our new addition to our Etsy store for the winter season. We've got these amazing ornaments here that you can hang on your tree. Very, very cute. This is all handmade by my wife. New memory markers as well, which you can either have this together or get one that's empty and put in your own memory marker of choice inside of it. Also featuring our winter-themed Coromon throwing a snowball. Very cute. My wife assembled all these. The snow is made out of resin, so it won't go anywhere, so it's pretty solid in there. Very, very cool. You can find this again on our Etsy page, link in the description below. Also, there you can find all of our previous memory markers that we featured on the channel. If you want to grab one of those to throw into your snow globe. All right, so in case you're wondering or you just don't know, this whole set is themed around dragons. So it's just a ton of different dragon-themed decks. So it's really interesting. It actually kind of also makes it a little difficult to refer to which deck you're talking about at times, because there is a couple here. There's the four great dragons, there's the Examon deck, and then there is the new Imperial. But the hard one is the Hina deck here. A lot of people are calling it Dragon Links, coming from Yu-Gi-Oh! Possibly that could be it. Definitely a awkward naming convention just because there isn't anything super solid, but for the purposes of this video we will be talking about Dragon Links as the Hina deck, so anything involving her, and then all these on play like level 6s and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be referring to that deck as well as mentioning who was the one I missed. Where'd he go? I missed one. This guy right here, the Aegismon or Aegisdramon. Aegis? It's never the same. Aegisdramon here. We're going to be talking about that one as well. And a few others, honorable mentions here at the end. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and start with red here. And honestly, red actually has a couple different ways we can talk about. So I think one of the most exciting here is the new Imperial deck, which I believe is also the secret rare for the set. Purple, red, Imperial, and it's also partially an armor deck as well, so they actually have the whole deck designed around Imperial but also using armors, so it's really neat. It's an incredibly efficient deck, but it requires setup, so it's a little bit slow in what it does. Imperial, the dragon mode, is like the most ideal boss of the deck. You can DNA into this guy for 0, just like you could with the old Imperial, the blue-green one. And then when DNA Digivolving, your opponent chooses one of their Digimon, destroy all of your opponent's Digimon other than the chosen Digimon, then Blitz on top of that. And then it doesn't stop there, because then you immediately, when attacking once per turn, this Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP for the turn. Then this Digimon may Digivolve into one Imperialdramon fighter mode in your hand for its Digivolution cost. So then we go straight into the fighter mode here, has piercing. So even if that one Digimon they chose to leave on field is a blocker, you go into fighter mode and you've got your piercing here. So that blocker still doesn't even matter. 2 Evo on top of that dragon mode. So very similar, at least in the the mechanics as well as the memory cost of these guys is the same as the blue-green ones, which I appreciate that, leaving them equally costed here. And then when digivolving, by returning one Imperialdramon mode from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of its owner's deck, it doesn't activate security effects on cards it checks for the turn. So just absolutely murdering security control decks, as well as just kind of hitting everything, right? Whether that be, Hammer Sparks or Ice Walls that could be in security, just whatever is out there. We expect a lot of Commandramon decks going to be floating around, and they're playing a couple different options that can be pretty impactful. So just turning off security options is going to be incredibly strong. And then on deletion, also you may play one Wormmon and one Vmon from your trash without paying their memory cost, and that's really relevant because that loops us back to the beginning, and that's what basically kind of starts this whole process, right? We've got the Wormmon here, so on play, reveal 3 cards at the top of your deck, add one red or purple with free in its traits, and one Imperialdramon in the name among them. Trash one of the following of the same requirements. So it gives you what you need in your hand as well as trash, and the trash is actually super important. And then has the inheritable retaliation for your guys. And then we'll jump back up here to the Vmon. So Vmon also has an on play by trashing one card with Imperialdramon in its name or free in its traits from your hand. Draw 2. So a little bit of extra draw power there if need be. Nothing too crazy there. And then gives a plus 2k buff. Now, where the interesting stuff starts to happen right here is with the level 4s. Now, these are armors, but they're not armors because they don't have the armor purge ability, which is a bit of a bummer. But first up is Flamedramon. So when digivolving, activate one of the effects below. One of your other Digimon may digivolve into a purple level 4 Digimon with free in its traits from among them, or from your trash, for its Digivolution cost. You may DNA Digivolve this Digimon and one of your other Digimon in play into a card in your hand by paying its DNA Digivolution cost. So that allows you to go into your Imperialdramon here, right? So the idea is to you're going to hard play your Vmon or have the Vmon already, and then the Wormmon, and then Evo into the Flamedramon, and then the Flamedramon, even if this passes turn at this point, right? So if you pass turn with Flamedramon, your Wormmon will then digivolve into Chaosdramon, or the opposite, because his ability is when digivolving, activate one of the effects below. One of your other Digimon may digivolve into a red level 4 Digimon with free in its trait from your trash for its Digivolution cost. So it doesn't matter which one you're doing, it just, whichever one you have in hand, and as long as you have the counterpart in the trash, you're good to go, and you just Evo one, and then you Evo the other from trash, and then you immediately DNA into your level 5, right? So that's the important part there. He does have some inheritables as well, but then we'll jump over here to Imperialdramon. So you're going to DNA into this guy for 0 memory, right? And then when DNA digivolving, you may play one Dino Beamon from your trash without paying its memory cost. On deletion, you may play one Vmon from your trash without paying its cost. So that gets you a little bit of the recycling, right? So if you get deleted, you can still recycle. Also gives security attack +1, which is pretty solid, as long as it has an Imperial in the name, which Spider mode as well as Dragon mode were covered there. So we'll jump down here and look at the Dino Beamon now, which of course is the purple-red counterpart. And then when digivolving, when DNA digivolving, you may play one Pyldra from your trash without its paying its memory cost. Boom, there you go, right? So if you DNA to this one, because this is the one you have in hand and the other one's in trash, you can still do it. You play the opposite. And then on deletion, you may play a Wormmon from your trash, right? So at this point, you now have you've Evo'd to pass turn with your level 4, and then your other rookie then gets to Evo into their level 4, and then they immediately DNA into one of your level 5s, and then that level 5 plays its counterpart out from the trash, now giving you 2 level 5s. So let's go ahead and look at Hydramon here. So end of your turn, you may DNA Digivolve this Digimon and one of your other Digimon in play into a Digimon card in your hand by paying its DNA Digivolution cost, which is 0 for the Imperial. So we go instantly back to the Imperialdramon here. So, and then when digivolving, you delete your opponent's field and then immediately blitz. And then when you attack, you then digivolve into a fighter mode, right, for 2 Evo. So you do all of this, right? All of your turn starts. You promote up probably a purple, because purple has like the best like babies as well as the other good package. You're gonna hard play your Vmon for 3, right? Assuming you have a memory fixer on field, you're at 0 memory. At this point, that's literally it. You have a purple, and then you got a red, and 2 rookies on field. You're at 0 memory. You just evo whichever one into their armor or into their level 4 counterpart, and you're just, boom, you're off to the races. You're doing all this for basically free. You get all the way up into your fighter mode, essentially a pseudo level 7, all for like very, very little memory. And then you're not checking security. You've got security attack +1. You've wiped your opponent's field but 1. You've got piercing, so if that one that they chose is suspended or a blocker, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get through. Oh my god, the value in this. You get a nice beefy DP. I think it's like 15,000. Depending on what your baby is, it could be more. Very efficient. Now, the only thing is it does require some setup, because a lot of those abilities require things in the trash. So just kind of keep that in mind for when you're fleshing out this deck with the other counterparts, that you're putting in cards that will help you put specific things into the trash. Whether you're doing blind mills or you're doing something like Aegisdramon where you're drawing and discarding, because that'll be huge. So still powerful. Like once you get set up, it just keeps going and rotating. So that'll be really powerful. And like even if the fighter mode gets deleted, you instantly play out both rookies, allowing you to start the cycle all over again. So moving on from there, let's go ahead and look at the next deck here. We got the Dragon Links. So these are on play megas, which seems a little crazy, right? Like Mega Zoo days here. So Volcanic Dramon on play, delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, your opponent cannot play Digimon with a DP of 5,000 or less until the end of your opponent's turn. Really nice counter to those Jesmon decks there. And then when attacking, if you have a Tamer in play, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. And you will definitely have a Tamer in play because the whole deck revolves around having that Tamer. And then so you're just getting free. And this is just when attacking. Like if you're just attacking your opponent's Digimon to clear them off the field, you're going to get that trash off of that as well. So that's really great. You don't even have to attack your opponent's security. Kind of like an old Gallantmon kind of strategy there. And then continuing on with that, its little counterpart here, we've got the metallic Dramon here. So on play, de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, all of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon can't digivolve until the end of your opponent's turn. Wow. Okay, I think that's the first time we've ever seen anything like that. Like that's a really powerful on-play effect. Again, though, 12 costs. Like Mega Zoo, what? This doesn't feel right. And then opponent's turn, while you have a Tamer in play, which you will, this Digimon gains Blocker Reboot. Okay, so Blocker Reboot, really, really nice combo there. So let's go ahead and take a look at Hina here to see what's going on with this. Like this doesn't feel right. So start of your turn, if your opponent has a Digimon in play, gain 1 memory. Cool. It's only 1 memory. However, you will probably want multiples of this Tamer in play, so you'll actually start getting a ton of value off of her, which is really, really great. Having a Digimon in play, like when is that almost never not going to be the case? Your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Rock Dragon, Earth Dragon, Machine Dragon, or Sky Dragon in its traits, by suspending this Tamer, activate one of that Digimon's on-play effects. So you can digivolve and still get their on-play effects. How crazy strong is that? And notice this isn't like once per turn or anything like that. If you have multiple Hinas, you can trigger these abilities multiple times. Let's take a look at that Metallic Dragon again. De-digivolve all of your opponent's Digimon. They have got 2 Hinas. That's like a double tap, right? And that's just so strong. Just de-digivolve. Really, really cool stuff there. And that Volcanic Dramon again, delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. Just using that repeatedly, just like incrementally clearing your opponent's field multiple times. This Volcanic Dramon is super cool. I really, really like it. Very neat strategy there with that. Definitely looking forward to it. Out of everything here, I think it's probably the one I'm most interested in general, that I would like to play, just because I think it's just something different and very unique. A little bit of setup, but you never know how things will go. Could be pretty awesome. So moving on from there, let's go ahead and go back to the top here. Also, it has Dorbickmon, which is a little bit of support where you can use, you can Digicross, making it a 3-play cost with Rush. You just use different dragons, and that deck is filled with dragons, so he's like a pseudo little support for that deck. Really cool. So that's it for our red as far as new decks are concerned. An honorable mention is the Chaosdramon here, which is a new support for Machinedramon decks. For all you Machinedramon fans, really excited for this. Digivolve 1 from Machinedramon, very similar to the other Chaosdramon. Also has on play or when digivolving by placing up to 3 red and or black level 5 cards with Cyborg and their traits and different card numbers from your hand and or trash under this Digimon. Very similar to the other Machinedramon, as its bottom Digivolution cards, Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon for each card placed by this effect. So you can potentially get a Digivolve 3 for a 1 Evo cost. That's pretty great. And then all turns when this Digimon would be deleted by or returned to your hand or deck by trashing 2 level 5 cards in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, prevent that from leaving play. So really great. It's basically just like a combination of the old Chaosdramon with the old Machinedramon, just like combined into one Digimon. Pretty strong stuff. That deck still has a little awkward though, because you definitely don't want to be hard playing that Machinedramon for too much memory. It can definitely be a little bit awkward to give your opponent too much memory. So we'll see what happens there. Jumping down here into blue, of course we got the Aegisdramon here, new boss monster. Very much going into this new style of playing blue, where it's all about kind of like what the Waymon did, where they're playing out their sources as just new bodies onto the field. Even taking it as far back as BT1 with Metal Garurumon, of when it came out, it got to play a Digimon from its source. Typically you'd play the Garurumon that allow it to unsuspend, so it could attack multiple times. So we're kind of going back to that style of play. So when digivolving, you may play 1 blue level 3 Digimon card, or a Digimon card with Seedramon in its name, or with Aqua or Sea Animal in one of its traits from the Digivolution cards of one of your blue Digimon without paying its cost. So there's some really great stuff in here. We've even seen it in the past with like the Metal Seedramon from the way back in like the dash packs and stuff like that, which is like on play, bounce 2 things to hand. So that's really great here. We've got some other really nice support just all over the place. Again, play those sources out for free on this Mega Seedramon. I think there's all kinds of stuff, and and then the rookies have really nice on play effects, which is great. So on play, one of your blue Digimon gets jamming, so you use that when attacking, play this out, give it jamming. That's great. Looking at like the other Gomamons that we've seen in the past, it's like on play from an effect, you get to draw X amount of cards. So just very much a kind of similar to Bloomlord in a way, where you just get really wide with your field, and you do that by playing out your inheritables. So it's kind of interesting that that's how it is. I like that because it doesn't take away from resources in the hand. A lot of these other strategies, it's like, oh, I get to play this thing for free. Cool. I don't replace that card in my hand. Oh, I get to play another card for free, using Bloomlord's tactics, right? They keep playing out all this stuff. You burn through a lot of hand resources, and you can, if you don't keep getting cards incoming, it can be an issue. Whereas this guy, this whole strategy is all about, we're going to Evo, we draw for our Evo, and then we get to play something out for free, but we get to play it out from our inheritables. And so we get to go super wide with all of our resources that are already on the field. So you can safely Evo in the raising area, and then promote up this guy, or promote up your level 6 and Evo into this guy. You can do all kinds of stuff. Really, really strong strategy. I think it's really interesting. We'll see how it turns out. I forgot to include it in my tier list video, but I think it's got some potential here. we'll just have to wait and see. Like, it's got really good going wide effects, but Bloom Lord, I think, still has some really just good, like, other effects, like tons of security attack, gets to unsuspend, gains a bunch of memory. So it's like, yeah, you burn through a lot of hand resources, but you get other effects as well. So I guess that's the balance there with that. All right, going down into yellow here, we've got our new 4 great dragons here. Some of them we've had already in the game, but some of these are newcomers, like the Goldramon here, which I've never really been a fan of. This guy being the mega for Patamon. I just like Seraphimon and Ophanimon. I think those are my favorites. I don't like the Magnadramon and Goldramon personally. I like to stay with the angel theme. I'm a big fan of it, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and look at the main card of the deck. Is actually this card, Trial of the 4 Great Dragons. So 8 play cost here, pretty steep, but the nice part is you can continuously get to play this card out for free. That's the main thing. So main, draw 1, and then main, delay. Play 1 card with 4 Great Dragons in its traits from your hand without paying its memory cost. Digimon played by this effect can't digivolve to level 7 and is deleted at the end of your opponent's turn. So they get 1 round where you get this mega on field, and then the mega gets deleted for 8 memory. It's kind of steep in the beginning, but it's actually pretty interesting because the way that the deck cycles. At first, the first time I read this, as they were like slowly releasing cards, I was like, that sounds terrible. But so let's look at the Goldramon. So when digivolving, you may return 1 card with 4 Great Dragons and its traits from your trash to your hand. Pretty good for cycling back through the deck. And then when attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6,000 DP for the turn. Then by returning 1 Magnadramon, 1 Azulong, and 1 Megadramon from your trash to the bottom of your deck, trash the top 2 cards of your opponent's security stack. So this is like your finisher, right? This is the one you go into at the very end. So it's probably the lowest count you play in the deck. We got the Magnadramon here, which is on play. All of your opponent's Digimon gain security attack -1 until the end of your opponent's turn. If this card was played by an effect of Trial of the 4 Great Dragons, all of your opponent's Digimon gain security attack -2 until the end. So then the idea is to keep playing that. And so on deletion, this is where the cycling begins. So Magnadramon on deletion, if you don't have Trial of the 4 Great Dragons in your battle area, put 1 from your hand in the battle area. So this is essentially allowing you to play 1 for free, so you don't have to pay that big memory cost, right? And so this happens, remember, it gets deleted automatically at the end of your opponent's turn. So then it comes to your turn, that delay effect is no longer live because it was played during their turn, and now it comes back to your turn, and now you can immediately use that delay effect to play out another one of your 4 Great Dragons. So let's jump up to Azulong here. So on play, draw 2. Then if it was played by the effect of that card, gain 2 memory, which is really nice. If this is the first one you're bringing out, it's got a little bit of power there to it to gain you some memory to do some really neat things. And then on deletion, if you don't have it in play, you may place 1 from your hand to the battle area. So again, once you get going, that initial cost is a little steep, but then all of your other turns you just keep cycling through these megas for free, and then they delete themselves and then immediately play out the Trial of the 4 Great Dragons again for you. And then remember, the Goldramon here helps you cycle back. So when you digivolve, you may return 1 card with 4 Great Dragons in its traits from your trash. And it's just 1 card. It doesn't have to specifically be a Digimon. So as long as this card has the trait 4 Great Dragons, which we see it right there, you can add it from the trash. And then the last one here is the Aegisdramon, also treated as Chaos Gallantmon. I always appreciate that touch. On play, delete 1 of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. Very purple effect there. If this card was played by the effect of the Trial of the 4 Great Dragons, add 1 to the maximum level that you can choose. So that's really nice. You can delete all level 6 or a level 6 or lower. And then on deletion, if you don't have it in play, you may place 1 from your hand into the battle area. Now, the thing is, though, you have to continuously have Trial of the 4 Great Dragons in hand. You have to keep having this option in hand to keep doing this whole cycle. The second you don't have it in hand and you break the cycle, the deck falls apart. and the idea of like you needing this all like essentially from turn one is so impractical. I like the concept is neat in theory, but there's not enough like draw power or cycling to get it back. Maybe I kind of wish the Goldramon wasn't like when digivolving. If I just played this guy out for free, if I could return the 4 Great Dragons in its trait from my trash to hand, that would be much nicer. Give me more incentive to run more of this guy just for that cycling effect. And it has no on deletion effect, so I don't get to cycle at all. It's kind of awkward. Like I said, he is very much the end of the strategy, like, all right, we're going to go for game now type of card. So yeah, it's just kind of, it's an awkward deck for sure, but I mean, it does have some other support, throughout as well here. So again, you get more on plays that you can do with the lower level guys, that sort of thing, if you want to cycle those instead. So it's certainly interesting, but I think it's just going to be too bricky for the amount of memory that it costs to get the cycle going. It costs a lot, and then the second you have to restart that cycle again is kind of a bit of a bummer and a little bit frustrating to have to replay that. And again, it could very easily the cycle get broken again. Or, especially because those cards only trigger if they get deleted. If they get bounced, like with Cocytus Breath, or they get sent to security with Chaos Degradation, they get sent to the bottom of the deck with Grandel Soul. There's tons of different things. If it's not deleted, you lose that whole cycle. So that's a bit awkward there for that deck. Not an overly big fan of it overall. Moving on now here, Hydramon for the Bloomlord decks is a great honorable mention. This is going to be our second honorable mention here to go with Chaosdramon. He's just a great new support. We've got some other support as well to go with him, but when digivolving, you may suspend 1 Digimon all turns. Once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is suspended, gain 1 memory for each other suspended Digimon in play, each other suspended Digimon with plant, vegetation, or fairy in one of its traits you have in play. So it's kind of neat. You gain a memory for suspending one of your opponents, making this like a 4 Evo, and then you instantly can get even more memory back from all of the stuff that you have as well. So very similar to Bloomlord. And then end of your turn, once per turn, if you have 2 or more suspended Digimon with plant, vegetation, or fairy in one of their traits, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of their owner's deck. So Evo into this, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, gain a memory back. So it's basically like a 4 Evo. And then even if that passes turn, you can then just choose something to bottom deck of your opponents. Like that alone is some great removal. But the fact that you can also gain all that memory back of yourself and then still like continue your turn on, attack your opponent's security, clear something else, attack one of your other opponents. 13,000 DP is huge. So you can clear something else and then bottom deck another thing. It is a good secondary mega for Bloomlord. Bloomlord is going to be in a fantastic position with having another very strong secondary mega for the deck here. Commandramon has some nice support in here with Darkdramon, not necessarily a dragon deck, but kind of a dragoon, I guess, a little bit. Commandramon's already been super solid, and just adding yet another named Commandramon to the format is great. But honestly, this is probably the weakest Commandramon that we've seen so far. However, the other support we're getting is incredible. So we got a new Sealsdramon here, has jamming, not a big deal. The main part here is this inheritable. When you play another Digimon with Debrigade in its traits, that Digimon gains Rush. So every time you play out those Commandramons for free through all these different effects, that Commandramon can immediately attack with Rush. Oh man, that's super scary. That on deletion Commandramon is going to be so strong now with this inheritable online. And then we got a new Tankdramon, which is the perfect thing to Evo on top of that Sealsdramon, because when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, you may play one Digimon card with a play cost of 5 or less with D-Brigade in its traits from among them without paying its play cost. Trash the remaining cards. So you could play out another Sealsdramon, or you could play out that Commandramon, and then keep the cycle going there. and then you just start crashing and playing out more, and then keep rushing using that rush inheritable. So strong, absolutely incredible. And then it has the inheritable your turn. When one of your Digimon with D Brigade and its trait attacks, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. You may play one Commandramon among them without paying its cost. So then we're going to now get to start playing them for free with this inheritable. So you're going to Digivolve on top of this with your new Darkdramon, and you're just going to keep on cycling. And then the Darkdramon to go with it here, when one of your Digimon would Digivolve into this card by returning up to 5 cards with D Brigade inner traits from your trash to the top of your deck. Very similar to the original Darkdramon, but this one's on Evo instead of on play. And then for each card return, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. So again, it's very similar to the old Darkdramon, just it's applies to Evo instead of on play, and which is okay. It's not amazing. I really like the old Darkdramon of just being able to slam it down for 3 and then immediately rush for game. But this is still a nice little side addition to go with that Tankdramon and the Sealsdramon, since we will be actually evoing up into something in this deck instead of just relying on crashing Commandramons. So it's a little bit different now. We actually have something that we're building into. And then your turn, once per turn, when you play another Digimon with D Brigade in its traits, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost lower than or equal to the played Digimon's played cost, and unsuspend this Digimon. So that's really great that you get to unsuspend. So you can essentially attack twice with this guy, because remember, you're going to use this Tankdramon's inheritable here to reveal the top 2 and play a Commandramon. If you play one of those like 5 cost Commandramon vanillas, that's really good there. To use with the Darkdramon effect. So that's really cool. Commandramon is going to be a beast of a deck. I'm honestly debating if we're playing EX3 in Nats, maybe Commandramon might be the choice. I don't know. I mean, it's super consistent, which I like, and it's really fast. It's a long tournament. Fast deck kind of feels really good. We'll just have to wait and see. The deck feels really solid there, for sure. And then purple, we already went over kind of what purple had with the Imperialdramon. And we also talked about the Aegisdramon already. And so the last deck we got to talk about is the Examon deck here, which is a huge fan favorite. Absolutely massive Digimon, just completely like ginormous, one of the biggest in the franchise. So DNA level 7, so kind of like a Ragnalordmon here, or an Ophanimon. DNA for 0 memory. This is super weird. It's very much an awkward deck. It's gorgeous, though. All the alt arts look gorgeous. All the cards in general look gorgeous. This deck, unfortunately, didn't do very well in JP. It's honestly a very complicated deck. I don't think this is for like new players or Faint of Heart players. Like, this is going to take a very dedicated player or just a very good player in general to pick up, just because it can be pretty complicated. So when Digivolving, you may place one green or blue Digimon card with Dramon in its name from your hand at the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards. Then, when DNA Digivolving, you may play one green or blue Digimon card with Dramon in its name in 12,000 DP or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. That's huge, because that's going to be your megas, your level 6s. You get to play out for free, basically, with this. That's pretty insane. And then all turns, once per turn, when this Digimon is suspended, unsuspend it and suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Very interesting effect there. Normally, your thought process is, okay, so like if I block, I can unsuspend, so I could block again, right? Sure, that is one way to look at it, but we actually have some other stuff that's really interesting. And then suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, so then you can actually stop them from attacking with another one. So he could essentially stop 3 attacks in one turn by himself. So let's go ahead and look at those megas here that we've got to support for him. We got Breakdramon here, which gives him the inheritable of all turns once per turn when your Digimon with Dramon or Examon in its name deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives. Trash one card from the top of your opponent's security stack. Works. This is all turns. It is once per turn, but it's all turns. So if you do block, you can get that trash from security there. And again, you get to unsuspend to block a second time. Really strong. All turns, once per turn when this Digimon becomes suspended, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So very similar to the other effect that we saw with Examon. All turns, once per turn when one of your Digimon with Dramon Examon in its name deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, trash one card from the top of your opponent's security stack. Now, what's really kind of interesting about this is because the first part was like an inheritable, right? Well, it's like, well, why do we need this effect remember, Examon gets to play one of these guys out for free from your hand. So if you play this guy out, the interesting part about the deck is the level 5s that go with it, because you actually don't need to use the level 6s to DNA. How crazy is that? So this is where you get your blocker inheritable. It's from the Groundramon here, and then has the blocker built in as well. Your turn, Examon in your hand may treat this card as a level 6 Digimon for DNA Digivolutions. I'll just go ahead and spoil it now. The blue has the same effect, but for the blue. So you use 2 level 5s, blue and green, to go into your DNA level 7, and then you're going to play out whichever of the level 6s that you want to have. Either, if you didn't get the inheritable for, you can get their whatever support they give. And then end of a turn, you may DNA Digivolve this Digimon and one of your other Digimon with Dramon in its name in play into a card in your hand by paying its Digivolution cards. So essentially, you have your level 5 blue on field, and you promote up a level 4, and then you Evo on top of this to pass on top with this guy to pass turn, pass it to your opponent, put your opponent at 3. You can then immediately DNA into the Examon, and then use your Examon's DNA when Digivolving effects. Super strong. Really like it. We'll go ahead and jump over here and look at the blue support as well, in the form of Wingdramon here. Has Evade, which is a new ability that we're getting. Also gives Evade as an inheritable, so when this Digimon would be deleted, by suspending this Digimon, prevent that deletion. So that's what I was talking about earlier. It doesn't necessarily have to be you block. When you suspend, you unsuspend, and then when you unsuspend, you get to trash the opponent's security. If your opponent tries to delete your Examon, he can just survive it, right? He just evade, suspend himself, and then immediately unsuspend, so he can still block, right? So your opponent can't even reliably delete him. And it just says when it would be deleted. Doesn't matter if it's by battle or whatever the case may be. Option cards, whatever, has this really strong. And then again, the same abilities, can use him as a level 6 for DNA, and then end of a turn, same as the green one. And the last big card to support them is the Slayerdramon, which is the blue level 6 that also supports. This is the one you can play for free if you don't want to play the Breakdramon. All turns, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes suspended, unsuspend this Digimon. So same thing there. This is where you're getting that multi-suspend ability. And then start of your opponent's main phase, by suspending one of your Digimon with Dramon or Examon in its name, your opponent must attack with one of their Digimon. That's super interesting. And then it also has the same thing here as an inheritable. So if you suspend your Examon to force an opponent's Digimon to attack, your Examon will suspend and then immediately unsuspend, and then your opponent's Digimon is forced to attack, and then you can immediately block it, right? And then delete it, trash the security. Just insane. It doesn't require any previous setup. You just have to have the pieces. I think that's the only difficult part of this deck, is you have to have a ton of pieces, right? A really nice thing is that both the level 5s Digivolve on top of Cordramons, ignoring colors and stuff like that, so you can actually just have a ton of these Cordramon here, as well as the old Cordramons. There was a level 4 as well, not the Groundramon. Where'd it go? There's a green Cordramon here as well, so it doesn't matter. Sure, you could Digivolve here, but it's just really great. And then these guys also can Digivolve on top of Dracomon, and there's going to be lots of Dracomons. We got a new one here as well to support the deck. Wherever he went, I totally lost him. Super adorable. Yeah, he's a duo color green-blue. Great stuff here. Got a nice searcher for the deck, 3-cost searcher. What's not to love? This deck is so cool. Gorgeous artworks, gorgeous designs. The best looking deck, I think, out of this whole thing. Now, which one's the best? I'm probably going to give it to Commandramon. It's super simple. It's very efficient in what it does. But this whole set has some incredibly fun looking decks. Really diverse. If you're wanting to take a break before you get super serious into preparing for Nats, this is going to be a great set to do that with. Pick up one of these fun decks. Go to locals. Play for fun, guys. And relax for a bit. Enjoy the game with something really unique for a month and a half. And then start to get into that preparedness for Nats, right? Just use this time to have some fun with the game, because these are looking like some really fun